Okay, welcome back to another video looking at some maintenance and some pre-checks and after-checks. This time what we're going to look at is this machine, which is the band facer, one of the more common machines we use in the workshop. Firstly, we're going to go over some of the parts, part names and different features on the actual machine, and then we'll get into some of your checks that you should do before using it and then some checks after you've used it. Okay, so first thing you've got here is the obvious part, which is the belt. All right, so the band facer belt is in here. That's what you're using to sand your material down. What you have is the table where you place your material. So I've got a block of wood. You would have it sitting on the table there with two hands, and you would work your way into the band facer belt to sand your bits of material down. You also have a guard here that you could use, so you can loosen this down and then you can drop it down. You're not exposing the entire belt. If you're wanting to sand something down a little bit smaller, you can have it so you're not exposing the belt as much. Okay. You also have the emergency stop and the green button there to turn it on. And down below here, you've got your little kick switch, okay, which you would use with your knee. So starting to look into some of your pre-checks that you should do before operating the machine. Again, with a machine, it's always a nice thing to do is just to check to make sure the emergency stop buttons are in good working order. So essentially the way you would do this is turn the machine on, pressing the emergency stop button, making sure it switches off, and you can obviously do the same thing again with your stop bar in the bottom there. Alright, just making sure that it's in good working condition. Next thing I would check is to make sure that the table is sitting at the correct angle. So when you're sanding your block of material down, you want it to be fitting so that the table is at a 90-degree angle to the belt. Okay, and the best way to do that is to grab something like an engineer square and stick it on position. And I'll show you that just now. Okay, so I've got the table here at a kind of deliberately lower angle, so just to show you, so it's a bit of an exaggeration, but you can see what I'm talking about. So the best way to do it is to take the engineer square, stick it up against the belt itself, and you can see that there's an obvious gap here because the table is slanted slightly. Okay, so the best way to look to do that is to loosen the handle. Okay, there's a handle at the side here, and all you do, loosen that handle, and there is a degrees reading on the side here. And if you take that table up to the 0 mark, and then you can put your tri-square or engineer square up against the belt there, and it should be sitting against it nice and square. So before maybe you go up to use the machine to sand down your material, you might want to give the belt face here a bit of a clean, and the best way to do that is taking one of these, which is basically a belt cleaner. It's basically a big block of rubber, and you would hold it against the machine. Alright, and it kind of cleans away the sawdust. If you leave it too much with the sawdust in there, the belt can get clogged up, and it makes it harder for you to sand away some of your waste material. Last thing would be to make sure that the extraction system is turned on, and there's a little handle at the back here, just where the pipe is, the silver pipe in the background there, just to make sure that is open in the open position so that the dust can be extracted out into the pipes into the extraction system. Alright, but there's your pre-checks. So things to check after you've used the machine is, again, I would maybe use the belt cleaner just to make sure that you've cleaned the belt so that the next user who coming onto the machine has got a clean surface to work from. You might need to take a brush, alright, and just give a quick brush down, especially to the table, alright, and any of the workspaces that are around, just to get rid of any sawdust on there. But essentially that is really the main things to kind of brush about down in terms of your after checks. Going to quickly look at some of the maintenance of the machine as well, just more so for the furniture course, for the senior phase, just so they can fill things out in their paperwork. So I'll just go over that just now. Okay, so looking at some of the the maintenance with the machine, apart from keeping it obviously clean on the surface with the table, like I said before, with the brush and stuff, is the back of the machine here, the top of the machine, there's a bolt at the back here that we can loosen, and you can lift this whole section up, and drop that to the back. And what usually you can see here, there's some sawdust and stuff that's been accumulated into the top part of the machine here. So essentially what you could do is take in a hoover or even just a brush, and you can brush away some of the sawdust that gets built up at the back there. Equally, if I'm just going to spin you around, if I can get in here. Equally, down in the back of this, there's usually sawdust and stuff in the back of that as well. If I do it there, maybe that's probably a better angle. So in the back of here, there's also some dust and stuff that can get built up. So a quick brush down the back of this machine, just get rid of any sawdust that's in there. All right. Okay, and also down at the very bottom here, there's a drawer at the bottom here, which is called the catchment tray. Sometimes, again, if the filter is a filter service indicator light above the stop bar here, which is out of shot. But if that light comes on, it might be that the filter needs changed, but also at the bottom here, it can sometimes get a bit of a build-up of sawdust in there, and it might need to be emptied and cleaned out as well. Okay, last sort of kind of maintenance could be the fact that although you've got the belt cleaner to help clean the surface of the belt, as time goes on and as that belt is getting used more and more, it will start to fray and it will start to it won't be as good as it was brand new. So you might need to actually replace the belt, as well. Taking it off and put a new belt put on there. There's also, you can see there's an extraction hose at the back here. It could be that there might be some sort of blockage in the actual main extraction system, which you might need to have a look at. It's more so your teacher or technician would look at that. Okay, but essentially that is your maintenance, that is some of your pre-checks, and that is some of the after checks. It's not a hugely complicated machine, so it's not a huge amount you have to worry about, but I hope that has been informative for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.